Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Will Cinematics video. Today I'm going to be going over my top 30 favorite Amazing World of Gumball episodes. I know it's a lot, but I really love the show, and honestly, 30 was cutting it back. So, if you've never heard of it, The Amazing World of Gumball is a show created by Ben Beauclerk, and it aired on Cartoon Network from 2011 to 2019. I'm going from 1 as the best episode, and 30 as the least best. For 30, I said The Castle. In this episode, Richard takes care of the kids and things go crazy in their house. And then an angry Nicole shows up, and Nicole's angry, that's like my favorite. The Roots. This episode is one of the lower ones on my list as well, but it's still quite good. I love how the whole plot surrounds Darwin's attempt to guilt trip his family into getting him a new tank. And all the just funny fish jokes were actually really funny. 28, The Ex. Gumball bothers Rob and tries to get him back, and it's this really sweet running joke that they have almost a bromance together as nemesis or whatever. And I just love the end of this episode. It's a really great episode. Number 27, The Mother. This episode is about who has the bestest mom. The end of this episode with Superman Nicole saving her kids. Just, Number 26, The Revolt. This episode's pretty good. I love how the inanimate objects actually succeed in taking over. Number 25, The BFF. So this whole episode is a really funny episode, and it's about Gumball's friend Fuzzy, who came back from I think Minnesota or something. And he's being super sketchy the whole episode. And I love just Darwin's jokes in this episode were really funny because he's very jealous of Fuzzy. So he has all these jokes about not giving a darn, and this one thing where he tries to come up with a comeback. And it takes him literally 2 hours. Gumball comes back from something and he still hasn't come up with a comeback, and that felt really relatable, honestly. Number 24, The Boredom. So simply enough, this episode is honestly a compilation of crazy things happening when Gumball and Darwin aren't looking. Number 23, The Fury. This episode is basically Masami's mom versus Nicole. I guess they have some ongoing battle. And honestly, the highlight of this episode is definitely the anime fight scene. It's so funny. It makes me laugh every single time I see it. Number 22, The Tape. In this episode, they film themselves, and this episode has baby and naives, which is a really funny gag. And there's some other stuff too, but it's just a really funny episode where they kind of just film what's going on. And it even introduces this whole idea of a show, it's Amazing World Gumball in the Amazing World Gumball. Gumball comes to camera and he's welcome to the amazing world, and then stops and he's no one's gonna watch this. It's just really funny. 21, The Procrastinators. This episode is relatable, and I love Robot Nicole. Robot Nicole was so funny. It was just so weird and out of it. Number 20, The Transformation. This episode has Penny's family fight over Penny coming out of her shell, and the different stories told by Gumball in this are really funny, and also just Penny's relatives all being really weird around him to get him to agree with their side of things, and it's just really funny. Number 19, The Weirdo. This episode is a great Sussy episode. I'm not a huge fan of Sussy, especially when I was younger and watching the show. I used to think the actual people acting in the show were kind of weird. It almost reminded me of Annoying Orange, a bad way. I just thought it was too weird. But I've grown to love Sussy over time, and this episode really changed my opinion on her. But this episode features that amazing song with the crayon animation, the fun little kid animation. And it's just a really overall great song, great episode, and a really funny plot. Number 18, The Best. So in this episode, Carmen acts kind of an SJW, a stereotypical SJW, and Gumball fights her over it, and there's a really funny scene in the cafeteria. They're both fighting with words, but they're getting blasted back and almost they're getting punched. It's really funny. It's a verbal attack. Number 17, The Copycats. All I need to say for this episode is that this is the episode with the fake Wattersons. I love the fact that this episode was the creators' way of getting back at the show that copied them. Basically, the story is that some other country copied The Amazing World of Gumball, which is different characters, but they directly copied from it multiple times. The whole show itself was just a copy of The Amazing World of Gumball. So instead of actually getting back at them, I'm not sure if they took any legal action, but they wrote this episode about the other show, and it's just really funny. Number 16, The Box. So I love the imagination that comes to this episode. There's some really great montages in this one. Especially I don't know why, but the vaccine one for a zombie virus really makes me laugh, where Richard's using it as a squirt gun, and then the zombie apocalypse happens. Number 15, The Joy. This episode is my favorite Miss Simian episode. I love the horror movie tropes and this random joy disease, and it's really just the fact that it's Miss Simian of all people is the only one left. And I love how it ends on a cliffhanger and you don't know what happened. Number 14, The Plan. This one is hilarious because I always forget the whole episode is just a plan. They never actually go through with anything. That's how much this episode spirals. So it's like, oh, let's like write an email. Oh, you wrote the email wrong. And it's like, oh, let's eat burritos. It's like, oh, dad can like smell the like burrito sauce or whatever. And like different little like ploys like that were really funny, and I always forget that they never actually go through with it. The best part is the fact that Daniel Leonard ends up being a makeup company. I just love that so much. Number 13, The Downer. So basically this episode is so relatable, especially the song about trying to cheer up and then getting more grumpy as you try to cheer yourself up. And Gumball's grumpy face is so funny, like I just love that. And then also the second half of that episode with like the darkness and stuff is just really funny, that like there wasn't actually darkness, and some really funny jokes there. Number 12, The Test. I love this one because of how it exposes how often Gumball insults other characters. He does it all the time. Like he has these like witty remarks, and then like in this episode he kind of gets like exposed in a sense. Tobias with like the like almost like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air like giant haircut, and then also a tiny braid on the back, which is so funny. Number 11, The Money. In this episode, the Watersons go broke, and I love this scene where they can't get upstairs. Like they're all like walking around in the dark, and you see like a car light go by, and you can see what they're actually doing when they think they're going to like sleep or getting upstairs or like brushing their teeth or something. It's really funny. Not only that, but also the Japanese commercial in this episode literally makes me cry laughing. It's just very funny and I love it. Number 10, The Brain. Anais gets literally hurt for face palming herself so many times, and I just thought that was really funny because I was thinking to myself, now that I think about it, like Anais must be face palming herself all the time because she's so much smarter than the rest of her family, and they're all just like so idiotic sometimes. And just the whole thing that it was all triggered by like the Gumball saying 9 whole days. It's just so funny. Number 9, The Grades. In this episode, Gumball gets sent back to kindergarten, and I love the jokes about like inhibitions. Like he literally like pulls out his inhibitions from like his brain and becomes like a little kid, and it's just a really funny episode, and I love just like how horrified he looks at the first day of school. Number 8, The Heist. This is the episode where Richard steals like tons of money by accident, and I love how badly Nicole wants to keep the money. Like it's really funny. Like she's just like so like adamant about keeping that money. Number 7, The Night. So this episode shows all the dreams in Elmore. That's it simply. There's some very funny dream sequences. That's why I put it all the way up at 7, just because like there are a lot of really funny jokes in that one. Number 6, The Check. This episode features Grandpa Louie, and he gives them a check for $5,000, and then the kids fight over what to do with the check, and I just love how it all ends with Louie like forgetting to put a decimal point, and it's honestly a hilarious episode, especially the invisible cards. Like all of it is a great episode. Number 5, The Choices. So this is a Nicole-centric episode, and it's very sweet, and I love the different lives Nicole ends up with, and my favorite by far is definitely her life with Tobias's dad, because she like burns the house down. I just thought that was really funny. Number 4, The Sale. In this episode, Mr. Robinson tries to sell his house. This episode is one of my favorite because of the different ploys Gumball and Darnie use to scare the buyers, and I really love the ending with the sewage where they're all dancing around because they think it's oil and it's just sewage water. Okay, now we're at my top 3 of all time. Okay, so number 3 is The Console. So this episode is the episode where Gumball gets put into a game, and from jokes like Gumball naming himself My Butt to Penny's like smashed face from like getting smashed by like a VCR. It's just really funny jokes in this episode. Number 2, The Detective. This episode stars Anais. Also, just a quick little thing. I don't get when people say Anais like instead of Anais. Like the show says Anais so many times, and I've never heard them say Anais, so I don't know how people get that wrong. Anyways, this episode is about Anais going on like a search to find Daisy, and this has a lot of movie tropes in it, so really funny like detective movie trope. And now the number 1 spot for the best out of like these 30 is The Origins. This episode explores Darwin's origins, and this is by far the best. It has great songs, great jokes, and it's also one of the cutest episodes, and explains a big question we've all been asking: where did Darwin come from? Because I've always wondered before this episode, because like we had no idea why he had legs. We had no idea, because he used to be their pet. They had said multiple times, and I was like, oh, that's like a little strange, like when he become like a person to them. And also just like baby Gumball, and like how much they show of him too is just so cute. Like I love, my favorite joke in this, the like 2 episode arc is the one where he's like, stirring the like alphabet soup, and he's like, I'm gonna name him Darwin. And then Nicole is like, that spells Japuxford. It's really funny because it's just a bunch of random letters. He thinks it says Darwin. But anyways, that is it for today. Please let me know what you think of my rating. If I like did something you didn't like, let me know, because please let me know like what you guys think of my rating. If you think it's wrong, that's okay. But please let me know what you guys think. Also, if you guys would like me to do any other like episode ratings on other shows, I'd be very happy to. Also, if you have any other like cartoons you guys would like me to review or react to, I'm so open to that, so just let me know in the comments below or like email me or something. I had a lot of fun making this and I really enjoyed the show. Comment down below if you enjoyed the show, because I think it's a great show. Some people disagree with that, but you guys let me know what you guys think. That's it for today, and also remember to watch out for my mystery movie month for February. That should be coming out soon. And it's not going to be a movie this time, but it's going to be a show. So watch out for that, and if you have any guesses, also leave them in the comments. I know it's a lot of leaving in the comments. But that's it for today, and as always, remember to like and subscribe.